Can I ask you something? Have you ever stopped to think about the people who made you who you are? Not the famous people, not the people you've only read about. I mean, the people who walked into your life at exactly the right time. The ones who probably have no idea how much they changed you. I think about I think about that a lot because when I look at my life, I realize I didn't get here by myself. None of us do. Every lesson I've learned, every bit of strength I've built, every ounce of character I try to live by can be traced back to somebody who invested in me, somebody who believed in me, someone who took the time to teach me something that changed my life forever. And today, I want to talk about those people because I think we live in a world that celebrates individual success. We hear people say, I built this, I did it on my own, I never needed anybody. If I'm honest, I don't believe that. I don't think a single one of us gets through life alone. Behind every strong person, there's usually somebody who encouraged them. Somebody who encouraged them when they wanted to quit. Somebody who corrected them when they were wrong. Somebody who believed in them before they believed in themselves. For me, that journey started when I was 13 years old. I was just a kid walking into a fire station for the very first time. I remember being nervous. I didn't know anybody. I felt completely out of place. There I was, standing next to firefighters who had years of experience. Some were old enough to be my dad. Some had been fighting fires longer than I'd been alive. I remember wondering if I even belonged there. But something incredible happened. Nobody made me feel like I was in the way. Nobody laughed because I was young. Instead, they welcomed me. They showed me where things were. They answered my questions. They taught me, looking back, they probably thought they were just teaching a kid how to become a firefighter. What they were really doing was teaching a young man how to become an adult. They taught me what respect looked like. They taught me what accountability looked like. They taught me what service looked like. And most importantly, they showed me what leadership looked like before I ever wore a badge that said lieutenant. And I'll never forget that. Then there was my grandfather, a Marine, a man who didn't need a long speech to teach a lesson. He taught by the way he lived. One sentence from him has stayed with me my entire life. A man's word is his bond. Simple, but powerful. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, do it. If you shake somebody's hand, mean it. If you make a mistake, own it. I've carried those words into the fire service, into my career, into my relationships, into every part of my life. Because character isn't built in one big moment. It's built in thousands of small decisions. And he understood that. The older I get, the more I realize that the greatest inheritance somebody can leave behind isn't money, it's values. It's the kind of life that makes people say, I want to live like they did. That's the kind of legacy I hope to leave someday. When I became a lieutenant at 23, I had thought my job was to lead people. I wasn't completely wrong, but over time I realized something. Leadership isn't about getting people to follow you. It's about helping people. It's about helping people become better because you were in their life. That's what those firefighters did for me. They didn't just teach me the job. They invested in me as a person. And that's a gift I'll never stop being thankful for. You know, sometimes I wonder if they even realized the impact they had. My guess is probably not. Because the people who change our lives the most usually aren't trying to become heroes. They're just being faithful in the small things. They're patient. They're kind. They take 5 extra minutes to explain something. They encourage instead of criticize. Like they see potential where someone else only sees an experience. And because of that, a life. I want you to think about someone like that in your own life. Who believed in you? Who gave you a chance? Who saw something in you that you couldn't yet see in yourself? Because before this episode is over and this live is over, I'm going to ask that you do something that could mean more to them than you'll ever know. I want everybody to sit back and look at the people that's in their lives. And look at the people that actually made something, made them feel special in a certain way, or made them feel like they were your saving grace. Like every day you wake up, you should have something you should be proud of. You should have something every morning that you get out of bed and you're instantly like, man, I'm glad I got up this morning. That's what you should do every day. It's not a matter of what you've done in your life. It doesn't matter who in your life is still there. That doesn't matter. It's when you wake up in the morning, you should look in the mirror and look at yourself and be like, you know what? I'm proud of this person I'm looking at. And you should never be ashamed of that. Just because life isn't really going the way you had wanted it. And there's been several episodes where we have talked about that. You look at other people and you're like, man, I really wish I was there. Like I wish I was in that spot in my life, but you can't do that. Because the more you sit there and you wish that your life was somebody else's, the less you actually go out and make yours worth it. The moment you stop realizing that your life is meaningful in its own way and start chasing something that doesn't necessarily belong to you, that's when everything becomes a disaster. Life is not about trying to be just like somebody else. Life is not about who has the most money or who did this for me. Life's not about that. Life's about you. You make it what it is. If you don't get up and make the best of every day, you're not going to have a very good life. Whether it be, bad relationships or a bad job, like it doesn't matter what it is. You have to understand that in order to have a successful, good life, you have to be able to build that your own, like build it yourself. You can't expect somebody to come in and build that for you because it's not going to happen. You can't expect somebody to try to build your life because it'll never be yours. It'll always be somebody else's. You can't sit here and try to chase a dream that doesn't belong to you. It just leads to being miserable because that's somebody else's life. They built that to where they're at. They might have the money that you don't to do that, to build that business or that house or buy that car. And if you sit there and you're like, man, I really wish I had that, it doesn't get you anywhere. You have to look back at the past and look at the things that has happened in your life that's kind of made you who you are. Being a firefighter made me who I am. It taught me respect. It taught me brotherhood. It taught me how to lean on people when I needed them. Was it always roses? Absolutely freaking not. There is no call out there that's the same. There is no truck setup the same. I mean, there's so much in the fire service that's different every day. When that alarm goes off, that tone goes off, and you go flying out the front door, and you know that you're responding to a fire. Okay, well, you don't know what kind of fire you're going into. You don't know if it's a 2-story house. Like, you never know. You never know how much of the house the fire has breached into. Like you never know. And it's the same with your life. You never know what part of your life has been breached by that fire. See, the fire will destroy everything. Destroys everything good. It destroys happiness. It destroys everything. But that doesn't mean we stop and give up. If you've ever drove around and seen a house that had burned, within about a year, usually you see a new one standing. It's because nobody lets the fire stay down too long. Nobody lets the wood stay burnt. If you stay in a burnt spot in life, you can't build something new. You can't build what it is you want. My lesson with that is, if you're unhappy with your life, look at it like it's a fire. Burn it down. Start over. You can't be scared to take that step. If you're unhappy with the way you think your life is going, start over. Whether it's moving, starting a new job, I don't know, getting a divorce, whatever it is in your life that is making you unhappy and not satisfied, get rid of it. Because at the end of the day, your happiness is what becomes the best part. If you can't make yourself happy, you're not going to make anybody else happy in life. Not a significant other, not yourself, not your parents, your sisters, your brothers. It doesn't matter who it is. If you're unhappy with yourself, you can't make anybody else happy around you. You have to be willing to take those steps. Those steps are like the hardest ones. And it's not because you don't know where to start, but I mean that is kind of part of it. Nobody knows where to start when they rebuild. Nobody knows where to take things. And that's the scary part. Like, that's what scares people. That's why nobody wants to start over. I mean, it was like that for me. Like, I moved from a little bitty town in Missouri all the way up here to Indiana. Like, that was scary, man. Like, I didn't have anybody here but like my mom and my aunt, and all of them. Like, but I didn't have friends. I didn't know what to do when I got here. I was lost. I felt like I was roaming around in a place that I didn't belong in. And that was the scariest thing in the world, because I didn't have anybody that I could just show up at their house. Having a bad day, I could just walk through the door and be like, "Hey man, what up? You got a minute? Let's talk." I didn't have that, but I found that. And I didn't find that by sitting in the house being depressed, wondering what my next move was. I didn't find that by doing that. Some of my greatest friends, actually, I have met on social media. Some really good friends of mine I actually met at a little bike get together called Blessing of the Bikes back about a year ago, a little over a year ago. And we hit it off. I mean, we created this whole little family. I mean, we were eating at each other's houses every Sunday. Like, we had family dinners. We were there for everybody. Like, you could have picked up the phone at 2 a.m. and called any one of them in that group, and they would have answered. I would have never got that if I wouldn't have started over. Back home, I had people who I thought were friends, but they really weren't. And that's the problem. There's always going to be a wolf that's going to be out to get you. Whether it's somebody that tries to be a friend, or a relationship that you think is what you deserve or what you need, but at the end of the day, that wolf is not. That relationship may not be what you need. And that's the biggest thing. Like, you can't be scared to just say, "You know what? I'm done." Like, It's my time to shine. You got to be willing to make that decision because nobody else can make that for you. Like that's your call. I mean, I get like it's hard. You don't know where to start, but like trust me, like take it from me. Like I started completely over. Like I mean, I have my own place. Like my car's paid for. Like I have family here, but everything that I have right here in my apartment, I paid for it. Like I busted my ass to get it. Like I worked extremely hard, all those hours and sleepless nights in that tow truck. All of that wasn't free. I had to work for that. Starting over is the same way. You got to work for it. It's scary. Like I get it. It's hard. But I've proved it can be done. 2 divorces, like that's rough. Like right now, I'm 28 years old. I'm single, living in a bachelor pad with 2 divorces. Like that's hard. Like when you sit back and you think about it, and you're like, man, I really went wrong in life because I ruined two marriages. And I know we're getting off topic, but think about it. How many times do you let something like that play through your mind? Well, I really messed this up. How do I fix this? Can I fix it? That's the thing. Like that's so hard. Like you can't replay that shit in your head. You have to be able to sit back and look at everything. And you can't blame yourself because you know what? We all made mistakes. Was I a perfect husband? Absolutely not. Did I make mistakes in my marriages? Absolutely. I will be the first one to freaking admit it. Was my wives perfect? No, they were far from it. Did they make mistakes? Absolutely. Will they admit those mistakes? Probably not, to be 100% honest with you. And it's not because they don't know what their mistakes was, but it's because they're too proud, too arrogant. And that's what I'm talking about. When you've hit that point in your life of healing, you can sit there and say, man, I made this mistake. Well, I really hurt some people. And that was my fault. That's when you know that you have changed. That's how you know like you're going somewhere. When you can sit there and admit that you were wrong, that's how you know. I mean, think about it. How many people like to actually admit that they were wrong? I don't know anybody that likes to sit there and admit that they were wrong. I mean, I definitely did not. Man, they'd be like, "You were wrong, man." I'm like, no, what? Shit. I stood by that. I've made mistakes. Was I a good firefighter? Absolutely. I was good at my job. I'm still good at it. That's the thing. I've never had a problem getting on a fire department. I've got certifications. I've never had an issue. My service record follows me. That's just it. It's like right now, like I drive a tow truck full time. Do I love my job? I absolutely love it. Is there days it sucks? Every day. I'll tell you right now, every day it sucks. But I got to bed and go to work. Go do it. Go do the job. And it's just like firefighting. Those people depend on me. When them people are broke down on the side of the highway at 3 a.m., they're calling me. I can't show up and be some arrogant prick. I have to show up with a smile on my face, even at 3 a.m., and I am not a morning person. Anyone that knows me knows. By God, I hate mornings, especially if I've had a Red Bull or a coffee. Man, that's a bad day. But that's what you got to do. You got to show up with a smile on your face and act like that's the greatest day of your life. I pride myself on my ethics. I've been towing since October. I've never once had a a damaged vehicle claim. Like, no one's ever said I've damaged their vehicles. I've never had somebody say you were shitty at your job. In fact, I've had people write letters into the company I work for telling them how great of a person that I was, or my customer service was on point that day. I took good care of them. Like, there's so many things that you have to like look at. Like, you can't go every day in a bad mood. You get nowhere, man. So I'm gonna close this part out, and we're gonna do a couple shorts. Part 2 is going to be a little shorter. We've made 20 minutes, and I really appreciate it. But listen, no matter what you're going through, if no one's told you today, like, I'm proud of you. I'm glad you're still here. And no matter what, don't ever stop walking through the fire, no matter how hard it gets. I appreciate every one of you. I love all of y'all. And I hope you're enjoying your night.